Hey everybody, this is Gregory Laporte from GamerFitNation.com, and I'm bringing you our video review of Darksiders 2. Darksiders 2 is being published by THQ, which is being developed by Video Games. The game is being reviewed on the Xbox 360 and is launching also on August 14th for the PS3 and PC, with a Wii U launch later this year. The game is an action RPG and will be retailing for $59.99 for the PS3 and Xbox 360, $49.99 for the PC, and it will be determined later on at a later date what the pricing will be for the Wii U. Now let's move on to our single player, shall we? The single player in Darksiders 2 has you taking the role of Death, the most feared horseman of the apocalypse. Now, the premise of the story is this. War, the protagonist from Darksiders 1, has been wrongfully accused of prematurely starting the apocalypse, which has thus wiped out humanity. Now, your role as Death in this title is to find retribution for your brother War by going to another area in another world, finding the Tree of Life, and restoring humanity back to what it was before the apocalypse. Now, this may seem strange as your Death trying to bring retribution and revival to a world that's already been destroyed, but you're trying to save your brother's life, and this is the only way that it can be done. You're gonna meet a lot of interesting and fun characters along the way. There's a ton of stuff that you can do. There's boss battles at the boss battles by going into different areas that you will receive. As you'll see in this review, we'll have a couple of boss battles that show the scale and show the combat at one time. Now, I just mentioned the scale in the boss battles. While they are entertaining at some points, there were a couple of times where I didn't feel the game utilized its resources well enough in order to proclaim such great boss battles. You have boss battles where you fought enemies and they're fun to fight. You fight them, you battle them, you dodge, attack, you do combos, you use your resources that are available to you. But there's also other boss battles where you fight gigantic enemies where I really felt this was a time that they could have used the scale of the enemies to incorporate integrated boss battles, which allows for more compelling gameplay for the user as they're fighting the bigger bosses. I mean, this is something that I really was looking forward to, and although there are some bosses that utilize it, I felt that it could have been done in a more fashionable way. Although when you defeat bosses, you witness a very cool scene where Death transforms into what we all know him as, the Grim Reaper, and he reaps the enemy and basically tears them apart, ripping them a new one, and doing it in pure badass fashion. I mean, it's really amazing what they've done with the final kills, and I really enjoyed what I saw from the battles. Now, getting back to the story, there are a lot of unique characters that you meet. First off, the characters that you will meet are the Makers, which basically are the ones that kind of created the whole world that you're in. These are the people that are going to be helping you. They provide you with armor, weapons, and you can also buy skills from one of the training makers that's located in the Forge, the area that you will be able to do everything in. In this area, you can also access the online features such as community messages that can be sent from the THQ servers. You can also purchase accessories, and you can also talk to characters that will give you side quests that you can do. If you're thinking that this title is just your run-of-the-mill action, adventure, / RPG type of game, you're pretty much going to be completely wrong about that. Although it does have some features like that, it has its own unique style that takes cues from a lot of games that you might know. Playing this game, I felt myself remembering other titles that have released earlier this year, such as Diablo 3 and Kings of Amalur. The reason was this. The sense of the whole map that you see and the whole sense of exploration, and at times the combat, is sort of reminiscent of Kings of Amalur, except for this part of the game it's more detailed and has more features that you can do. The combat is very fleshed out with a pretty good combo system that allows you to use fast weapons and light weapons. You can have maces, you can have sights and you can get possessed sights, which allow you to feed other weapons into it to make that weapon even stronger than what it is now. You also get a skill tree which you can make Death a certain type of character. You can make him focused on one certain aspect of his skill board, or you can make him focus on another certain aspect of his skill board, which is the necromancer. He can get magic skills and more hard-hitting skills, and you can use your skill point to differentiate between what type of character do you want. Do you want him to be more of a physical reaper, or do you want him to be more of a necromancing reaper that can summon people and things to do his bidding as he would? Well, now that you think about it, I think that one is the way you gotta go, because it seems really badass. Well, now that we've seen that and we've heard that, now let's talk about the combat in the game. Darksiders 2 has a pretty good combat system. You can do attacks by pressing the X and Y buttons. These buttons allow you to do quick, fast attacks with pressing X, and Y button allows you to do heavy, hard-hitting attacks with stronger weapons. The only downside to this is it makes you slower and makes you more open to enemy attacks. The X button allows you to do faster, quicker attacks, but then again, they aren't as strong. Well, and that also depends upon the weapon that you have on. If you have weak swites, you're not going to do weak attacks. You have strong swites, you're going to do strong attacks. You can also press the A button and any combination of the X, Y, and A buttons to do combinations that you unlock by training with one of the makers, where he allows you to buy skills, and which allows you to practice skills. There's honestly a lot of skills that you can buy in training to be done. There's a ton of stuff. You can get guns, and you can get a power-up that's similar to those that will have played Devil May Cry 4. This power-up is an arm that basically reaches out and grabs your characters and knocks them up in the air for you to do air combos. It's pretty cool, and I really thought it was very reminiscent of Devil May Cry. The game also features a fast travel system that many people will know from other games similar to this. This fast travel system allows you to travel from dungeon to area. What I also liked about this fast travel system was the fact that while you're in a dungeon, if you fast travel to a different area, such as the Forge, and you want to go power up and buy weapons with all the loot and booty that you found while playing the game, you can do this. Basically what happens is, you fast travel to the area you want to go to, you travel to it, and that allows you, after you're done doing what you have to get done, you're able to travel back to the instance where you traveled from in the dungeon. Now this is pretty good because you don't have to fast travel back and then have to run back into the dungeon and go through all the areas that you've already done. I know personally that I found this a nuisance in other games, and I think that they have incorporated this, and I feel it's really good because it helps with the pacing and the flow of the game, and it doesn't stop you from going back and powering up your weapons and powering up your character because you might have not done so at a certain time because you didn't have enough money. Putting the gameplay, single player story, and combat and fast travel and all that reminiscent stuff behind us, let's look into the meat and potatoes of what makes this a truly great game, the presentation. When I look at the presentation in this game, and I look at the characters, and I look at the story, and I look at the overall appeal, this game has the feel of a lot of games that came out this generation all mixed into one. It has a Prince of Persia feel, it has a Kingdom of Amalur feel, it has a Diablo feel, it even has that little bit of Borderlands type of Diablo type feel with the way that you can collect several items after defeating your enemies and how you can find certain things around the world. Another factor of this is the fact that you meet a lot of interesting and provocative and rather suspect characters in this game. The dialogue between them is very weird and unique, and it brings upon that sense of, you know, this is a very good story that you're going to want to pay attention to. Death, I was assuming as I played the game, was going to be a very boring, bland character, but I found myself, as I played with him in the beginning, that he's a character that you want to like and that you want to do well and that you really care about him as a person and whether or not he can complete his goal in saving his brother War from the council. Now, will he do it? I can't tell you that yet because you have to beat your game on your own to find out. But what I can tell you is that as you play this game, you're going to find a story and characters that you're going to like and that you're going to want to find out more as you go on through the story. Another great factor of the presentation of this game is the fact that the music, I have to say, is one of the best soundtracks I have heard in a video game. As you're witnessing right now, this boss battle, if you listen to the music in the background, it's very intuitive. It gets you into the game. You know, it's one of those boss battles like, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that. You're really interested and you really care about what happens. It immerses you in the experience of what's happening between you and the boss and death. And as you ride your sword, and it gives you the sense of you're the heroic being that can save everyone going on. If you don't believe me, just sit down and listen for the next few seconds as you can hear the background and you can hear the battle going on, and you can just feel how I felt as I was feeling very immersed in the battle that was going on. Honestly, I have to say that I really enjoyed my time playing Darksiders 2. Death proves that he is the right person to save his brother War. Darksiders 2 improves upon the issues of his predecessors immensely and provides an adventure that transcends the mere fabrics of space and time. The single-player story, the combat, the expansive exploration that Darksiders 2 provides leads into a massive adventure that you'll want to keep playing. There's honestly a huge amount of replay content for you to go back along with the new game plus that allows you to rank up and power up and become even more powerful as a Grim Reaper should be. Although Darksiders 2 does suffer from some uninteresting empty environments with the main area being somewhat of like an empty barren wasteland, in boss battles that could have been a little bit more invigorating if they incorporated using the enemies' bodies as a way to, you know, scale them and attack them and do different sections, kind of like how other titles have done. But all in all, it doesn't change the fact that this is a game that every action RPG should take some notes from. I tip my hat to you, Visual Games and THQ. Well done. This is a game that I can say that you will want to get. Lastly, I'm giving Darksiders 2 a reaping 8.5 out of 10. Have a fun time. Check out the game. Gregory Laporte for GamerFitNation.com. Have a blessed day. Peace. One last thing before you go. If you don't pick up the game, death will come to reap your soul.